Interior, room, day. A girl walks into the room wearing a trench and black pants. She faces us and begins to talk, breaking the fourth wall. Hi there, my name is Marina, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to write a screenplay and discuss some story writing techniques. Check it out. So some of you may have seen my short films and some of you may have not. If you don't know, I'm a filmmaker and I write all of my own content. I've written and directed some short films and a feature film. If you want to check them out, then click on one of them here. You can check out all of my films on my main YouTube channel called Wondering Pictures. If you want to take a look at those before you actually watch this video, just so you know the type of style of writing that I do, then you could go ahead and pause this video and then go watch them quick and then come back. Okay, so let's get started. So before we get into how to write a screenplay, first let's discuss what exactly is a screenplay. Well, a screenplay is a story told with images and sounds in a specific way. And a story is simply a series of events. Obviously, these events need to lead up to something like a conclusion or a punchline. So before you actually start writing, you need to know what story you're going to tell and why you want to tell this story. So that brings me to tip number 1 to writing a screenplay. Know your ending before you actually start writing. If you start writing a story without knowing how it's going to end, then eventually you're just going to get lost and your story might fall apart into nothingness. It's the same thing as if you're going to drive somewhere. Would you get into your car and just start driving aimlessly if you didn't have a destination? No, you wouldn't, because then you would just get lost. Before you get into your car, you first need to know what address you're putting in your GPS. The route that it takes you on will bring you through a bunch of different and interesting locations until you reach your final destination. So it's the same thing as writing a story. You need to know how it's going to end because there needs to be a sense of direction and drive for your story to move forward. And also the conclusion defines the reason of the entire story. Why all of this is happening, what everything is leading up to, a final end. If you don't know your ending, then there's no story because there's nothing to be achieved. So make sure that you do have a clear conclusion to your story. The entire movie will then simply be a series of events that lead up to that conclusion. This technique I find works best with short films because it's a short enough time frame to tell an interesting event and to kick it off with a really fun punchline. Tip number 2. Create a character with a need. One of my favorite books that my father gave me is the Syd Filed book, Screenwriting. According to Syd Filed, stories in movies are always about someone, somewhere doing something. Stories are events, and events happen to people, aka characters. Your character needs to be the driving force of events that are happening. And in order for your character to act upon these events, he needs to have a drive or a need or a goal. Who is your character? What does he want? In Birdman, the main character is a former movie star who wants to be relevant again. In the film Castaway, the main character just wants to survive and go home. Every good story needs a main character that's anchored to a desire. He needs to have a want or a need that causes him to take action and force the movie forward to its conclusion. So figure out what your character wants and make sure that that is clear to the audience. Tip number 3. Once you have a clear story idea, character, and conclusion, write out your outline. Before writing your script, it's always best to write out a clear outline with all the series, with all of the scenes and situations that are going to happen in the movie. This will help make the movie make sense and give a stronger sense of what's going on scene by scene. This will also help you organize your thoughts and ideas into a coherent timeline that'll form into your story. Tip number 4. Divide your script into 3 acts, all divided by plot points. Act 1 should be the setup of your film. This is where you introduce the audience to their characters and their situations. After Act 1, you need your first plot point. This should be an event that just flips your story 180 degrees. It should be something that happens to your character that screws everything up and it's a problem that he has to solve, or it's just something completely unexpected. It should be an unplanned mishap that happens to your character, which therefore brings him to the events that happen after, which is Act 2. I like to think of Act 2 as solving the problem. Then there needs to be a final plot point at the end of Act 2, which is another twist of events, I don't know what it is, that then brings your movie to Act 3, which is the conclusion of your film. This basic structure is called the paradigm, and it's key for screenplay writing. And lastly, tip number 5, write your dialogue with gut feeling rather than words, if that makes sense. What I mean by this is that your dialogue should never be direct, but rather it should be implicit. Your character shouldn't be saying exactly what you want your audience to know. Your character should talk the way any person would talk. They can be talking about anything. They can be talking about the weather, they can be talking about how their back hurts, whatever. But if you want a different meaning or if you want a different emotion coming from that, you put that in the description part of writing your screenplay. And the character will show it with body language. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just so cliche when your characters just say what's up. They're just talking about what's going on, and they're talking about what just happened, or they're talking about their feelings so direct, like, oh, I'm so sad that you did this to me. People don't talk like that in real life, and I think it's so poor when scripts have that. It's just so corny and cliche. I just hate it. So instead, try implying those emotions in the situation. Try describing things through your character's body language or through his demeanor, or for instance, let's just say the scene is about two characters and one of them is changing a car tire and the other guy is scaring him. I don't know what, he's like threatening him or whatever, so this guy feels scared, okay? Let's just say he's scared. He doesn't want this guy to beat him up. Let's just say that's the scene. In this scene, you wouldn't have the scared character be changing the car tire and then say, oh dude, you're scaring me, please don't hit me. You don't say that. You can already tell that he's scared, right? Your actor is going to portray this in his body language, so you don't need to say it. Instead, you would have the character drop the tools out of nervousness and be like, oh, sorry, let me get that. Like he would feel scared, you know, like the way he says it, it's like, oh, this shows that he's nervous and he doesn't want to piss off this guy. I don't know if that example was good or not. I don't know if it makes sense, what I'm trying to say, but hopefully it makes sense, I don't know. Anyways, that's about it. After completing the video, Marina reminds the viewers who she is and concludes the video. Marina. I'm Marina, and those were my tips for screenwriting and storytelling. I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed it, then please do subscribe to this channel and also check out my short films. You may enjoy them, you may enjoy my writing style, you may not. Maybe you can give me some tips and techniques. Oh, and also be sure to follow me on Instagram. Do you have any script writing tips? Let me know in the comments below. Marina waves goodbye. Marina, catch you later. Do 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 do.